Welcome back to She Talks Money, the podcast where we talk about building wealth, creating freedom, and taking care of our whole selves in the process. Today's episode is going to be a powerful one because we're diving into the connection between business, burnout, and body with someone who truly understands how to elevate your life from the inside out. I'm joined by Bailey Braccini, founder of Elevate, a wellness brand that supports high-performing women with tools for nervous system regulation, hormone health, nutrition, mindset, and more. Bailey is a practitioner, business owner, and guide for women who want to feel grounded, confident, and in control. If you've ever felt like your hustle was outpacing your health, this conversation is for you. Welcome to She Talks Money.
Yay. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here and have this conversation. We're going to help so many people. But let's kind of start from the ground up. Can you tell me a little bit about your journey and what led you to launch Elevate?
Yeah, so I have always been an athlete growing up. I've been a go-getter, high achiever, a little bit of a perfectionist. I'm sure you can relate. Mm-hmm. And it's great. It's done a lot for me, but it also has had its repercussions. And for me, that was really dealing with fatigue, hormonal acne, irregular cycles, not really understanding my body. And it really made me take a step back. So I actually like to say that I was my first client because I was. Mm-hmm. And truly it gave me so much experience with how to kind of figure things out with the female body. It's very complicated, but it's also such a beautiful thing to be a female. But kind of going back, I, in college, got into fitness, so very into working out, kind of figured out what a calorie was and how to take care of my body that way. But I went a little bit too extreme, kind of getting into that athlete perfectionist thing. Mm-hmm. And I was very diligent and a little bit too restrictive. So I had some repercussions happen with my hormones, dealt with crazy hormonal acne. After college, I actually got exposed to mold. So I was dealing with mold poisoning. But here's the thing, and this is what I like to say is, I wouldn't have had such extreme symptoms with my mold poisoning if I would have been in a healthy state in my body. Mm-hmm. So the mold was just the trigger. It wasn't the main thing. And I think that is something that is really important to get across just with health and wellness in general is like, it's normally not like this one thing. It's just the thing that was stacked on top of all the other things that put you over the edge. Mm-hmm. So that forced me to really take a step back and focus on, okay, how am I really living my life and what needs to change so that I can feel really good in my body and not just look good? Because from the outside, it looked like I had it all together. And really, in reality, behind the closed curtain, I did not. So,
when I feel like there's so much pressure, I mean, not just these days, but I mean, the pressure just seems to be mounting. My kids are younger, but just like now it's year-round sports instead of changing things up, and just so much pressure to be perfect or better constantly that it's hard to take a breath and stop and say, okay, wait a minute, how am I actually really feeling right now? You know, so, okay, so a lot of our listeners are entrepreneurs or ambitious professionals. So what helped you build the confidence to start your own business?
Such a wonderful question. I really have known from a young age that I wanted to help other people. Mm-hmm. I love connecting with people. I love having conversation. I love to build relationships. And kind of when I was growing up, I never really fit in. Mm-hmm. And I always felt insecure about that. And I did try to fit in. I really did. And I started to realize that actually me not fitting in was my superpower and that there are people out there for me. Mm-hmm. I just hadn't found them yet. And that's okay. And so for me, I guess being a business owner, I knew like I wanted to create something for the person that I used to be. Oh. And it's been really special. And just coming from a place of truly being myself. A lot of people ask me how I built my business, and I'm in the messy middle, right? We all are. Mm-hmm. We're in those building phases. And I think my main motivation for starting my business was really like, I don't want anyone to feel how I felt.
Yeah.
So that's my mission, is just giving people their power back through like connecting with them and helping them understand what's going on in their body so that they can feel confident enough to be themselves and find their people and find their community and do what they really love to do.
And do you find with women, a lot of it is who they surround themselves with? Yes. I find that a lot. And I had to go through that growing pain. So when you say you try to like help the people where you used to be, like I see younger women in real estate and finance and just in general that I come across, and it's just like, be careful who you surround yourself and you let in. And, you know, the more and more very successful women that you talk to, the more you'll hear their inner circle is very small. So they might network a lot, but their inner circle is really, really small, because you have to have those cheerleaders and you have to have the people that support you. And it takes other confident people to be that for others versus just, you know, people that bring you down. So what mindset shifts were most important for you when stepping into leadership and visibility?
Yeah, I would say this really switched for me probably 18 months ago. 18 months ago, I was not putting my face on social media. I almost felt bad being like, hey, I'm a business owner, or this is what I'm doing. I was afraid of being seen. And I really had to overcome that fear. And it took a lot of time. But I will say the main thing that helped me was just doing it. And I know that's such a crappy answer and it's not what you want to hear, but I always say just do the thing. And once you do the thing and you realize it's not as scary, it's easier to do it the next time.
Yeah.
Even for me, like TikTok, like it's still hard for me, like posting my videos, getting my thoughts put together and really stringing how I want things to come across. And just realizing you got to make the videos in order to get the video that you do string everything together and it's like perfectly said. So really just taking action. And one of my greatest mentors in Jim Rohn, he just really stuck in me, like just to, you know, the world needs your take on things too. That's also from Ed Milet. Like he always emphasizes that. And so I love to spread that with my audience and my followers too, of like, if there's something that you have to say, say it, because there's people that need to hear it. And it might not be me, right? Like I'm going to support you if you're my friend or you're in my community. Your content might not be like the thing for me, but it's going to spark something in them or they're going to relate to it. And I think that's really where confidence comes from, is just doing it.
Yeah. I love that so much. And that is like my word this year was like fearless, like just, and I think we're a lot of like, I'm catching like type A. I like to have everything figured out from start to finish. What is it going to look like? I tell people this podcast, right? Like I was just like, I'm going to do it. Like if I keep thinking about it, it's never going to happen. I'm just going to jump in and do it. I don't have to have all of the pieces figured out. And it is amazing when you courageously jump into that, how many doors open and opportunities come up when you just walk through the door. So very cool. I'm so glad that you did. Let's talk about burnout for a little bit. How does it typically show up in women, especially business owners?
Yeah. So number one, it's if you wake up in the morning and you don't feel well rested, I would say that's a little bit of a red flag. And then you need to take an audit of like, okay, what time am I going to bed? Am I on my screen before I go to bed? Am I having ruminating thoughts? All those things will play into how well you sleep. So first take an audit on that. And then if you are really being diligent about like, okay, I'm going to bed at a decent time, like I have my things in line and I'm still waking up and I'm not feeling well rested, or I'm hitting this like fatigue wall at like 10 a.m. Okay, then we need to think about what else could be going on. So that's first signs. But also like I would say eye twitching is a big one, feeling kind of shaky in between like the day, anything that's weird and out of sorts are a good sign that we need to kind of check in on how much are you doing? What's your schedule looking like? Are you booked every single night after work? Are you booked back to back during the day? Do you not have time for lunch? Are you getting your eyes into the natural light in the morning? Like all those small little things that we think aren't a big deal really do play into that kind of burnout and the symptoms that come with it. For me, the main one was fatigue. And I would say most women in general deal with that as well. So if you do start to get those like fatigue symptoms, I would say the number one thing to do would be to create more space. So just taking that audit of like, okay, what is in my calendar? What's in my day-to-day schedule? Am I waking up having to be on and do all day long for everyone except for myself? Of course your body's not going to feel right.
Yes. And why is it that we have to get older and go through struggles before we give ourselves permission to take care of ourselves? I think
literally
for years I felt guilty about just like going to the gym. Like my whole 1 hour a day that I took for myself, I literally felt guilty about it. And, and then now I'm older and I'm just like, psh, I'm going to take as many hours as I need per day.
I see your pull-ups. You got those pull-ups down. Those are impressive.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, but you have to take care of yourselves. And so we're giving you permission. If you're listening to this, we are giving you permission. Please take care of yourself, because it's a domino effect. And once some things start to fall apart and you're feeling fatigue, it's only going to get worse and worse, until I had a complete breakdown last year. And then I was forced to be like, wait a minute, what's happening? And now how do I shift and take care of myself?
What was your main kind of like sign of burnout that you dealt with?
Like as you were speaking, it started out with fatigue. You said eye twitching. I'm like, oh yeah, I had that. A big part of me was also perimenopause, but I think it was the burnout that triggered a lot of that to start when it did. And that went on for 3 years before it like slapped me in the face and like extreme depression, like overnight, that I could barely function. And I was like, okay, this is not normal. What's happening? And had to deal with it.
Yeah. I always like to say, the symptoms that are coming up are just signals.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Any other signs that you would say that women are disconnected from their bodies or running in that like fight or flight mode?
Yeah, I actually think correlated to that is women specifically, we have great intuition. So if you aren't listening to yourself on like a situation or anything, right? Like it could be with work, it could be with your kids, it could be with your husband or your partner, whatever. If you aren't like hearing anything come up when you're trying to make a decision or you're really dealing with that decision fatigue, that could be a really good sign that you just don't even have the space to think properly. Because when you have the correct amount of space to think, the answers will just flow and they will come. Does that good answer?
Like 100% resonate that with
Good.
My husband would say, my wife does that a lot. He'll be talking to me and I'm like looking at him and then I'm like, wait, what did you do? He's like, where are you right now? I'm like, I don't even know.
Yes.
So you talk a lot about nervous system regulation. For someone new to that concept, what does it mean and why is it crucial?
Yeah, so I literally just learned about the nervous system like 3 years ago. I was like, nervous system, what? And so the nervous system is really the way that it's your brain. So it's how your body is like moving, right? It's the way that my hand is moving and how I'm speaking right now. My thoughts are being put together. And sometimes things are just overworked, right? We're not taking the time to put down the stimulation. So stimulation could be TV, it could be work, it could even be going out with friends and like actually doing things, right? And we need to do that, but we need time to also rest. And rest does not mean sit on the couch, eat ice cream, and watch TV.
Yeah.
And I actually have really struggled in the past with knowing what rest was. And like you said, resting can look like taking yourself to the gym. Like that is totally the rest if, as you know what I mean. Like there's different types of taking care of yourself. So, okay, nervous system, starting like my clients, the number one thing I have them do is like, do not touch your phone in the morning. For 15 minutes at least, okay? 15 minutes, it's a big chunk of time for someone that grabs it right away.
Immediately,
And I will say, even as a business owner, I have to be very disciplined in that because it's really easy to just be like, okay, I'm up and I'm ready to go. And that's great, but if I don't ground myself and just take a minute to like let my mind have a thought and focus on what I'm grateful for and maybe even just visualize what's going on for my day or how I want to feel that day. It sounds really small, but it has such a big role in how you show up. So the blue light specifically, it mimics noon. So like noon during the day. So if I'm on my phone at 8 p.m., right? My body doesn't know the difference between being outside in the middle of the day or looking at my phone screen. And that's definitely something that I am continuing to work on myself, is being very diligent. Turn the phone off at 8. Just put it away. There also is a really nice feature on the iPhone. Do you have like the red light? You can double click.
I have an Android, don't judge.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Hey, that's fine. Whatever works for you. But if you have an iPhone, there's a way in settings to turn your blue light to red light.
That's
so
awesome.
it's definitely a hack for me. I will say I'm still pretty good about putting the phone away by like 8:30. Yeah.
So I can speak to this because I had to make some serious changes. I was really struggling with sleep. I mean, we're talking a couple hours of sleep a night, and I was exhausted. So I have a new startup reflection routine and an end of the day calming routine. So my startup reflection is I get up, same thing. I do not touch my phone. And even like a half an hour, 20 minutes in, the only thing I touch is I turn my Audibles book on, maybe, or a podcast when I'm getting ready, but that's all I do. But my startup reflection is I get up and while I'm doing my skincare routine, and it's kind of silly because I'm kind of in the dark in the bathroom, like only my closet light is on. But while I'm doing my skincare routine, I do a little self-gen talk. Like we just have a little conversation with myself about how it's going to be a great day and you're awesome, and just like a little self-pep talk. And then I can get my makeup on and just listen to a great podcast or a book or whatever. And then my calm down routine is, this was hard for me, but it was one of those like stop being a hypocrite, Jen, because I was telling my kids they couldn't have their phones an hour before bed, but then here was me in bed scrolling or planning my next day, and I was like, stop. And now I just read. That's my time to read, and my sleep is like profoundly better since I started those things.
I would say too, like something that really helps me is writing before bed because I have so many thoughts. I have a lot on my mind, and that's great, but getting it down on paper, and then I always finish with 3 things I'm grateful for that day. So it could be as simple as like being able to sit and enjoy my coffee before I dove into work, or meeting a friend for a quick walk, or something like that was really good that day, and calling it out. And your brain, when you do that and you go to bed thinking about positive things, it sets the tone for literally the next day.
It really does. And your brain is listening all the time. So pay attention to what you're telling it.
Yes.
So any other simple practices that you'd recommend women incorporate to calm their nervous systems throughout the day?
Yeah. So I would say being specific about grounding yourself with 3 meals a day. So breakfast, lunch, dinner. Now, I don't mean you have to have like the biggest breakfast right when you wake up. Some people aren't hungry right away. So if you are going to work out in the morning, I do recommend eating something small before the gym, especially if you're lifting or doing any sort of workout, honestly. Our female body needs to know that it's safe in order for it to, you know, make the correct hormones and not spike cortisol too high. We do need cortisol, but if we're not eating and then we're going into a workout, our body doesn't know the difference between being famished and running from a tiger. So that's a very simple thing you can start to do, even just like a bite of a banana, a half of a protein shake. I like the Ballerina Farm protein. And just starting the day like that. And then I would say lunch is an important one. And especially for busy moms and business owners in general, I think lunch is the thing that goes out the window for most people. Like, I don't know if you know the term realtor lunch, but like some people that I've worked with that are realtors are like, oh yeah, you mean realtor lunch doesn't exist, or it's like a nut. And I'm like, oh my God. If you have hair loss and you're not eating lunch, eat lunch. You know, just simple things like that. The body will not produce those healthful features if it doesn't have what it needs. So I would say 3 meals a day is just a grounding practice. And then, turning the phone off before bed, like an hour would be ideal. And then, like you said, adding in reading or something or writing something, even if it's 5 minutes. It doesn't need to be this huge routine. And same thing with the morning. If you have 1 minute, you can wake up, you can take 5 deep breaths, and you can be like, you are safe. You have a beautiful life. You are beautiful. You're going to show up today and be a light in the world. Like, there's just so many little things that we can do. It doesn't have to be this big production.
Right.
Another one that I love is just literally stepping outside for 30 seconds. If you have 30 seconds, step outside for 30 seconds. It doesn't have to be a 15-minute walk, right?
Right.
It's just do what you can, right? And I always say that with my client. It's like, you just need to do the best you can. Our lives are busy, and I totally get that, but that doesn't mean that you have to just put yourself on the back burner until you have all the time in the world to take care of yourself, because that could be 10 years, you know? I don't know.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just starting the habit, right? Like, just start the habit.
It's a
tell
domino.
yourself, I'm going to go stand outside for 30 seconds to get some good vitamin D, feel some grounding in the ground. And, you know, that 30 seconds turns to like, oh, I kind of really like this. Now I'm going to get 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or then maybe you lead to that 15-minute walk. But just start small. Don't
Yep.
have some great expectation that it has to be a big thing.
Yeah. And then I would say just last thing is like drink water before coffee.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yes. So
That's
like
huge.
water with some minerals before your caffeine. Ideally, you're putting something in your body before coffee, but if you're not, add a little scoop of protein powder to your coffee. It's a lot better than just plain coffee on an empty stomach.
Yeah, for sure. Vital, what is it? The collagen.
Oh,
I
yes.
usually put that in my coffee.
I like the Equip brand for collagen. It's
Okay.
grass-fed, unflavored, not
Okay.
the vanilla one because that has natural flavors.
Okay, good to know. So let's talk cycle and hormones.
Yeah.
How can women begin to understand and work with their cycle rather than against it?
Yes. Okay. So, number one, so menstruation is what everyone knows about, right? That's the time when you're bleeding. And a lot of people like to say it's like very hush hush. I remember when I was
Right.
growing up, I was like, no one talk about your period. Like no one can know that I'm a period. I get it. But at the same time, the more that we can normalize the fact that women have cycles and we
Yeah.
do bleed and we should be bleeding, because that is our sign that we are fertile. And it's very sad. It's very hard. I know a lot of people that are dealing with infertility in the world right now. And fertility and infertility is not just about having a baby. When you are fertile, you are creative. You are more yourself. You are confident. You feel good. And when you are unfertile or infertile and you're maybe using certain types of birth control and stuff, I get that completely. But that's where I do think it's important to work with a practitioner of some kind to have a plan of, okay, when I do want to have a baby or in a few years I'm going to get off and this is what I need to start doing to prepare my body for that change. It's very, very important. And I think there just needs to be more awareness around it. It doesn't need to be like, there's no shame in using birth control. If you need to use
Right.
birth control, use it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, make sure you have a plan and make sure you
Yes.
know where you're headed so that your body can recalibrate. But getting into the cycle, so there's different phases of our cycle. So menstruation is one phase, and what follows menstruation is your follicular phase. So follicular is kind of like your spring. So your body's starting to kind of rebloom and everything's getting a little bit better. And then ovulation is supposed to follow that. Not everyone ovulates.
Okay.
And ovulation is like the key that things are going well. Ovulation is truly the only time that a woman can get pregnant. So knowing that is also important. You can use things like natural cycles. You can take your temperature. There's a little strip thing called Anido that I've been looking into. So that's great. So then ovulation comes. Ovulation is your summer. So you feel good, like going on dates. We're putting the outfit on. We're dancing in the living room for no reason. That is ovulation and it's amazing. And then what follows ovulation is your luteal. So
Okay.
then you're going to get into your luteal phase. Luteal is when we feel a little bit more bloated. We might, just not feel as energized. And a lot of people are like, the luteal phase sucks. And I'm like, okay, yes, but what is it trying to tell you?
Yeah.
What is it trying to tell you? It's trying to tell you that you don't need to wake up at 4 in the morning to go to the gym. You don't need to do that. You need to sleep till 6 or 6:30, and then you need to have a little bit of a slower morning and nourish your body and go for a walk. Or maybe you don't even go for a walk. Maybe you just, do what you need to do. And I think that is really important to give yourself that grace during that time. And also, you might not be on during your luteal phase, and that is okay, right?
Yeah.
And then what follows your luteal is your menstruation. So then you're menstruating, you're shedding your lining, right? That's important. You are releasing the old almost. I always like to think of your cycle, your menstruation cycle is like your report card of your body. So
Nice.
if your period is super short, like it's 2 days, it's barely there. Okay, what is that telling us, right? Like we might be a little bit lower in progesterone, like things might be just like a little bit off. Your body might not be having enough to really build that lining of your uterus. So just knowing those things is giving you your power back and helping you understand your body, right? Like no one, and it's no one's fault, but no one really told me like, hey, like this is what happens. And because we didn't know.
Right.
No one knew.
Right.
And now we know. So once you know, then you just need to do better.
Right. I love that we are having this conversation and we're putting it out there. It's not just, we grew up and it was like I was cranky and it's like, are you on your period?
Yeah. No, literally.
That's the period discussion. And I just love the way that you kind of illustrate this and like a spring and then you're shedding and paying attention, I think is such a great message to like listen to your body. Your body's going to tell you what you need. They're amazing. And, but you have to listen and then figure out like what's going on. It makes me like go back to my doctor's appointment when I was going in and saying, why do I only have one good week a month? Well, I was probably ovulating.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yes.
So what are some key things women in their 30s and 40s should know about hormone shifts and perimenopause?
Yeah, so I'm actually not really a full expert in this category yet. Okay. I have been really doing some research in it. But number one, support the liver. Yeah. So your liver is detoxing from excess hormones. And a simple thing I think literally everyone should do is a castor oil pack.
Yeah.
Have you done those?
No, but I've read about them.
I would highly recommend. So castor oil is a very detoxing oil and it's very powerful. It's potent. So if you're pregnant, don't use it.
Right.
And I put it on the right side on my liver. Okay. And then you use this little fabric pack and you wrap it around your body and you can sleep in it or you can wear it for just like a few hours before bed. And what that's going to do is kind of help your liver to detox and get rid of anything that it might be holding on to.
Okay.
And it's a very simple thing to add in. Another great thing for liver support would be digestive bitters. So you can do, I like organic Olivia brand. There's one at Whole Foods in the little supplement section that's like $13. Digestive bitters. You take a little bit of that before you eat a meal. Super great, super supportive. And then I guess like the last tip I would say is balancing your blood sugar. Balancing your blood sugar levels means like if you are going to enjoy a muffin, right? Like make sure you have the muffin with a form of protein or after a form of protein because then your blood sugar will stay a lot more stable. I also do love like a CGM monitor just to check in with where your glucose levels are at.
Okay.
You could wear it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I do recommend, you can do it by yourself, but it's great to work with a practitioner so you can kind of be on a team. I always like to say to my clients, like, we're a team now. Like, you got to let me know what's going on so that I can help you, best serve you and know exactly what's going on in your body. And those are just tools. They're not necessary. But I would say starting with liver support and then balancing the blood sugar is crucial. And alcohol, I'm sure it's not really gonna help the perimenopause or menopausal women in any regard. It's so unfortunate.
I can speak to that. I'm in perimenopause, so I am experienced in this. And my advice to people would be if you're all of a sudden feeling very different and you're in your mid 30s and higher, go get your levels checked. Get your hormones checked. But keep this in mind. I learned this in the last year, and it was so profound to me that I was like, why did I never think about this before? But our modern medicine puts, anything that they test, from your sugar to your glucose to any testing that they're doing with your blood, into like a normal category. But the problem with that is like literally one number outside of normal could be disease.
100%.
Instead of optimal levels. So check your levels and make sure, do some research into what's optimal. And if you're outside of the optimal, even if you're in the normal, then you could do a little bit more research or connecting with people as to, okay, how do I adjust this before I do get too far out of the optimal phase and really start to have some symptoms.
Have you heard of Function Health?
Yes.
Okay. Have you used it?
No.
Okay. So that will give you more of a optimal range when it comes to the blood testing and stuff.
Sure.
Because I do think it's important to know where your levels are at and not just guess.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to go right to blood testing, there are definitely ways that you can like get things to be a little bit better. I would also add in strength training, and I know you know that, but like strength training, you're never too old to start. I know people that are 60, 70, 80 literally starting to use resistance bands because they know the power of muscle mass protecting their body, protecting their blood sugar, protecting their joints, their brain, because muscle is going to, think about muscle as a literal sponge for sugar or glucose, right? It's going to just speed up your metabolism, number one. And I know every woman who's 30 to 40 to 50 to 60 is like, my metabolism shut off. And I'm like, no, it didn't. We got to look at your lifestyle. Maybe you were sitting a lot for work. Maybe, you know, you hadn't been eating because you were taking care of the kids for the last 10 years, right? Like, okay, what could we add in to get your metabolism to start to fire more? Eating protein, lifting weights, sleeping. And I know perimenopausal people struggle with sleep. And that's where I think, okay, we need to know where your levels are at, and then add in like a magnesium glycinate and being really diligent about that like wind down routine. So,
and you brought up something earlier I was going to comment on, the alcohol. So I'm not a big drinker. I don't drink during the week, but I like beer, and I got my allergies done, and I'm very highly sensitive to yeast and gluten. So I should not be drinking beer at all, but I like a good beer. But since dealing with perimenopause, and it's been a slap in the face how alcohol, like literally my body is screaming at me, it does not want a drip of alcohol. Like last weekend, literally I took a couple sips of wine. We were having steaks for dinner on a weekend, and I took 2 sips, and it was like my brain caught on fire.
Really?
And that's when I set it down, and I'm like, okay, I hear you. I'm officially listening. I'm done. It's just for whatever reason. And so pay attention to that. If all of a sudden you're feeling really sick, and you talk about like metabolism and not sleeping, especially if you're in that phase, alcohol, I think, can even have a more significant impact on how you're feeling in your body. And just maybe, I'm mocktailing it. I have a whole Pinterest board of amazing mocktails right now.
I love a mocktail.
Yeah, so that's my journey right now. Yeah. But we were talking about exercising. So this is a new concept to me. I've just learned in the last year, and I'm so curious about it. How can you sync your work or your workout routines with your cycle phases to improve your performance and reduce burnout?
Love this. Okay. So I see a lot of people going to random workout classes, doing HIIT style. Okay. So HIIT is high intensity interval training. Just want to get that out there. And that would mean that you are getting your heart rate above, like, I would say 160, right? Like it's getting high. Yeah. And that is intense on the body. So I would say, going back to so we have follicular, then you're getting into your ovulation, and then you're menstruating, and then it's follicular, ovulation, luteal, menstruating. And then, so follicular, you can do strength training, of course. I think strength training is beautiful. You can do it low impact. You can also get it to be more intense, depending on if you want to go shorter rest between your sets or whatever. You could also add in sprints if you wanted to. I would recommend sprinting in your ovulation phase.
Okay.
And I only recommend sprinting 1 to 2 times a week. Okay. So just keeping that in mind, you could sprint 1 to 2 times a week in your follicular ovulation. And then luteal, I will recommend going a little bit more low impact. So not that you have to completely stop working out, but listen to your body, right? What is it telling you to do? If it feels tired and you don't feel like you have a lot of energy, it wouldn't make sense kind of going back to that of waking up early and going to a super intense workout. Maybe you need to go and work out after work, and maybe it's just a lighter Pilates day, or maybe you're just going to do a little bit of tricep and bicep work, whatever is on the books. But and then menstruation, you can move during menstruation, and a lot of people think oh, I shouldn't work out because I have my period, but you can work out. Yeah. And I kind of come from a place of, you don't necessarily have to fully sync your workout to where you're at, but during your luteal phase, you do need to pay attention. And for a long time, even I specifically am working on this, of really listening to my body and being okay, you don't have a lot of energy. You are about to get your period. Why would you push your body to the max right now, right? Maybe instead of 3 sets of squats, you're going to do 2. You just don't have to be so rigid. And that is going to be the biggest return on investment for females too.
Okay. What are your go-to strategies for fueling focus and energy throughout the whole day?
Yes, love. So I used to start my morning with a bowl of oatmeal, and no, I'm going to just say no. Specifically for myself, this is very much me. And that is something that I want to get across, is you see these what I eat in a day videos on Instagram and blah, 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 blah. And I'm counting my macros and I'm eating 170 grams of protein. And it's that might not work for you. Okay. your body might not be ready for 150 grams of protein every single day. That might be too much on your digestive system, okay? So my philosophy is really more on like balancing your plate. So I like to think of like 30 grams to 40 grams of protein specifically for myself. And my clients do this too. And then we're doing a 4th cup fiber. So that could be like sauteed vegetables, basil seeds. If you haven't heard of basil seeds, they're really, really great.
Not.
Yeah. So chia seeds are good, but they have lectins in them. And lectins can be a little bit sensitive to people, especially if you have autoimmune stuff. So basil seeds are lectin free. No autoimmune flare should happen. They're very, very high in fiber. And I believe they also have 10 grams of protein, which is like a plus. But back to the topic of nutrition. So building your plate, we have protein, we have fiber, we have a complex carbohydrate, and then we can fill in with fats. So I mean, normal protein like ground beef or, eggs, they're going to have natural fat in it, which is great. So you don't have to worry so much about the fats, but fats are really important. My favorite form of fat is an avocado, olive oil, nuts, seeds, whatever you kind of enjoy. And then complex carbohydrates could be like a Japanese sweet potato, normal sweet potato, organic rice. I like to do rice cooked in bone broth and then put it in the fridge. When it's in the fridge, it turns into a resistant starch, which means it's going to have a lot less of a spike on your blood sugar, so less of a glucose spike. Your body will take more time to digest it.
My sister-in-law is from Brazil.
Oh, amazing.
And her mom came when they had their baby and taught my brother how they make rice. And just like you said, so they start by maybe sauteing onion and garlic, and then actually sauteing the rice a little bit.
Oh.
And then they add bone broth.
Yep.
And I've tried it, and it's a new addiction in my house.
Is it amazing?
It's so
Okay,
good.
I'm gonna do
and
that.
it lasts all week.
Yes.
It is amazing. Yeah, I highly, highly recommend.
That's
and I
great.
follow, it's good to hear because you're like confirmation of when, especially with the whole perimenopause thing, I went all in, like, what can I do to help myself? And so started really more like the Galveston diet, but it's just that, like high fiber, high protein.
Yep.
A lot of good vitamins,
Yes.
greens, but I'm gonna have to check out those seeds because I'm a big chia seed person.
Oh, yes.
But I also have some autoimmune stuff, so I'm gonna have to check that out and let you know how that goes.
The one thing I'll say about nutrition too is like everyone's very bio-individual, like I had mentioned, but complex carbs specifically, make sure you're having them around your workouts so your muscles are getting that energy, that fuel. I like to think of carbs as energy and protein as your building block.
Okay, love it. Are there any non-negotiables you personally stick to when it comes to wellness routines?
Ooh, this is a great one. I am very diligent about my Google Calendar.
Oh, love it.
So I schedule in my workouts at the beginning of the week.
Okay.
My workouts for me are almost a creative outlet. So I do like to follow some structure, but I like to think of it as like a playtime a little bit. Like when I'm on the mat, I've been an instructor for many years. I train clients. So that for me is just like my favorite. I turn on my favorite music. I move my body and a lot of things will come to me during that time. Another non-negotiable for me is a walk every single day. Doesn't matter if it's raining, if it's snowing, I'm going outside. Even if it's 5 minutes and I'm like just walking up and down the street, like I'm not missing my walk. I think I maybe missed 3 walks this last year, and it was because I was like sick one day or it was like blizzarding. But other than that, like I'm getting outside.
I love that.
And that just for me is like I keep the promises that I make to myself. And that's something I think everyone should do is like decide what's important and really stick to it. It doesn't need to be 10 things. For me, it's movement and nutrition, like very, very important to me, just because I know how good I feel when I have those foundations down.
I love that you bring up the workouts too, because a workout has always been my outlet and it's kind of my stress reliever and all the things. And I went to a gym for years and years and years and years. And we recently put a workout room gym in our basement. And my workouts are so much fun now because it's just me there.
Yes.
I turn music on. I have the big mirrors, and like in between my sets, I'm like dancing.
I love
and
that.
It's just like, it's so like, not everybody has that option, right? But I hear you when you say it's like your creative time because it's like brought something out of me I didn't even know I think needed to come out, and it's so much fun. If someone is listening that's feeling overwhelmed, where do you suggest they start when it comes to just taking care of themselves?
Yeah, really great question. I would say carving out 5 minutes every single day for yourself. 5 minutes, I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but for some people that could be a lot. And in those 5 minutes, I would recommend grabbing a journal and writing down, you know, what you're grateful for, what's going well in your life. And then focus on those things. Don't focus on all the other things. Don't focus on feeling overwhelmed, right? And then I would say, if you have time, like really ground yourself with a nourishing meal to start your day.
Love that. Can you walk us through a grounding day or mini reset routine that you recommend?
Ooh, mini reset routine. That's good. Morning or night?
Let's do morning.
Okay. Morning, so a reset routine for me would include not waking up super early. So I think sleep is more important than working out for everyone, if I'm being quite honest. So if you're not sleeping, your body is in a state of stress. If you're getting 5 hours of sleep, your immune system is functioning less than 70%. So just keep that in mind of like, wow, okay, I do need to protect that and like really allow myself to rest. That will affect your ghrelin and leptin levels, which control your hunger. So if you're not sleeping enough and you're dealing with cravings or you're just feeling fatigued or whatever, it's going to play into all of the things. So number one, I would say I would set my alarm for like 6:30 in the morning. I would get up. No phone, obviously. I would get myself dressed, do my skincare. While I'm doing my skincare, kind of like you do, I kind of like talk to myself, coach myself up. And fun fact, if you speak to yourself in the you form, so like you are, or like you are amazing, you are whatever, that your body is going to, and your mind are going to start to believe it, because it would be like me telling you that. When I say I, that's coming from like you, right? So the I affirmations, they can work, but the yous are so much more powerful. So that's just a little fun fact. And then I would say, so I'm waking up, I'm gonna do my skincare, whatever, and then I'm gonna sit down with myself and ground myself. So either make a water, put some lemon in it, sit there. You can journal, you don't have to journal, even just taking 5 deep breaths. And then I want to get outside. So like within the first hour of waking up, I would say I'm getting outside, my eyes exposed to natural sunlight, my feet on the ground, as long as it's not snowing, depending on what time of year it is. And then I'm coming inside and I'm going to make myself a high protein, nourishing breakfast. I love to include fiber in my breakfast too. So one of my go-tos recently has been like a little bit of basil seed pudding. And I should actually post my recipe. I haven't posted it.
Yes, please.
Basil seed pudding, like a half serving. And then I'll do some hard-boiled eggs or just normal eggs. And I actually love to include like a green with my breakfast. So arugula or leftover vegetables or something to get in that fiber. Fiber's so important and it's so overlooked. Now, I eat a lot of fiber, so you can't go from not eating any fiber to eating a bunch. And I've seen clients like try and do that and I'm like, it's not going to work. Your body's going to be like, girl, what are you doing? So just slowly start to introduce like 1/4 of a cup of fiber, you know, with one meal and see how you feel. But don't go from like no vegetables or no fiber to a bunch.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What are 3 small but powerful habits women can implement to support their body and business?
Okay. Number 1, I would say mindset. So wellness is really emotional, and I think it gets overlooked as like the last thing we go to, but I actually would say the way you speak to yourself and your relationships and your life and how you are emotionally actually is how you are physically. So just keeping that in mind, I would say really kind of take an audit on how you speak to yourself, how you're feeling in your body emotionally. And then if there is something that's coming up, like a lot of people will do like therapy and stuff like that, but you don't necessarily need to go hire a therapist. You can just focus on like, okay, what are things going on in my life that I need to reframe? A book I love is You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. Very powerful. Okay. And then number 2, business owners and females, I would say movement. It's just such a pillar for me. Number 1, when you show up for yourself and you move your body, you gain confidence.
I was just going to say,
like,
so
it
much
is
confidence.
such a domino effect, specifically for me too. And, you know, obviously I'm a trainer, so I have to walk the walk if I'm going to talk the talk. And I just think that as females, strength training, resistance training, whatever form of movement you love is a great form of movement. If you don't like to strength train, do your Pilates class. That's totally fine. Whatever is going to be best for you. But I will say, personally, my clients are strength training and they're seeing amazing results.
That's awesome.
Okay, sorry. Third one, grounding yourself each night by putting the phone away before bed.
Fair enough. Yeah.
At least an hour, no screen time, or if you can't do an hour, 30 minutes.
Okay. I would love for people who are listening to this, give us feedback. Find us on Instagram, try some of these techniques, and like we would love to hear people changing their lives or feeling improvement just by tweaking a few small things. So where can listeners go to learn more about you, your work, and how to work with Elevate?
Yes. So my Instagram handle is basicsxbay, basics times bay. And that name actually stemmed because I'm all about getting back to the basics. As you can maybe see in this conversation, I don't love all the gimmicks, right? Like we don't need all the crazy stuff. Like we really just need to get back in tune with our body and ourself and spark things that create joy in our life. Like all of that is so important and truly how you're going to be healthy for a really, really long time. Like the blue zones, for example, they're all connecting with people. They have community. They're eating dinner with their friends. They're not alone at home scrolling their phones.
Right.
So very, very big on the basics. And my website is Elevate times Bay, so you can find me there. And then I also have a link in my bio for my coaching application. You can book a free discovery call on my Instagram, and you can just DM me. I love to chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bailey,
Thank you.
for this powerful conversation. You brought so much wisdom, calm, and clarity to a topic that so many women are struggling with quietly. If you're listening right now and you've been feeling exhausted, scattered, or just off, I hope this episode gave you permission to just slow down, get curious, and reconnect with your body. You don't have to sacrifice your well-being to be successful. In fact, your health is the foundation of your success. Make sure to follow Bailey and check out Elevate. And if you loved this episode, take a screenshot, tag us both, and share your biggest takeaway. Until next time, remember, wealth is not just about money. It's about energy, confidence, and the freedom to live fully. You've got this.